Hello and welcome everyone to the ISCA, the Saturday Night Cup and Super Cup series here as we tackle Martinsville. Of course, we just had a race on Thursday that settled out the Final Four. Tonight will be much of the same as we tackle this difficult half-mile racetrack. Of course, my name is Brian Britt, joined in the booth by Big Al. How you doing tonight, my friend? Well, I do believe we must have lost Big Al there for a moment, but either way, the show must go
Sorry,
on.
sorry. It was an ATVO thing. I was sitting there talking, but no, you couldn't hear me. I was saying, man, I'm excited to be here at Martinsville with the ISCA. This race right here is going to prove to be nothing short of spectacular. These guys are always top notch when it comes to performance, as well as we are great when it comes to the production, Brian. So this should definitely equally be as sweet as the previous performances that we've had together.
Yeah, definitely 100%. I mean, we saw a great race on Thursday. Kind of was a little apprehensive before that race, but definitely got surprised quite a bit when we saw, the race go almost completely green, despite, we did have two cautions. Will it be the same here tonight? I'm not sure. I mean, it could be a whole different energy. A lot of times we see a different energy in this Saturday Cup Series, wouldn't you say?
Yeah, definitely. Two totally different races, even though it is technically the same series.
Taking a look at the race facts coming into tonight's race, 250 laps here. Stages are 50 and 100. 6 tire sets, actually 5 in the pits. 115 is the fuel window, and that actually was something that came into play on Thursday, which at Martinsville, you don't expect fuel to ever be a concern, but it definitely was on Thursday. So could it be a little bit of parity here and we see the same thing?
Yeah, these drivers are definitely going to have to be cognizant and try to conserve, because I think that's going to be the name of the game. But if this thing does go green like it did on Thursday night, it'll give us a chance to actually let those green flag pit strategies unfold.
Yeah, this is a very easy pit road to get messed up on, especially when it comes to speeding, how low speed it is for sure. And also, a big decision when you decide to go down pit road at a track like this, because you could go multiple laps down just considering how short this track is. But let's take a look at the Super Cup points here coming into tonight's race. Got it up on your screen. Chris Johnson, of course, won last week at Homestead, has locked himself into the Final Four. Chris Severa, of course, is sitting second place. He has not locked himself in yet, but I think he might be locked in on points at this point. Kenny Powell is in third place. He is quite a ways back from Chris Severa, but still, I mean, he's pretty safe right now. But what would really change a lot if someone outside of this top four won the race? Of course, Jose Acosta is in fourth right now, not too far from Kenny Powell. Actually, I do believe 3 points separate those two. Ryan Strunk, he's back there in fifth place. Sixth place, Frank Flores. Seventh, Gary Adamson. And eighth, Paul Olson. Those are the top 8 that have a chance to lock themselves into the Final Four. So we're going to see a lot of that tonight. I mean, a lot of points calculations probably going on for me and you, Big Al.
Yeah, absolutely. Definitely going to see who is actually able to toe the line and make it through that round of the Final Four.
Taking a little bit of a look here at the Cup Series point standings. Abner Acosta at the top of the board with 3 wins, more than everybody else. Strunk, I said Stunk. I do apologize, Ryan. Second place, Ryan Strunk. He's sitting definitely sitting pretty right now with 257 points. Jose Acosta sitting in third. Fourth place, Chris Severa. Kendall LeVron sitting in fifth. Of course, he has a win on the season so far. The 13-week season. Sixth place, Don Avery. Seventh place, Kenny Powell. Eighth place, Thomas O'Hara. Ninth place, Frank Flores. And rounding out our top 10 is Chris Johnson, who won last week. Definitely excited to see what these guys have for us. Looks like about everybody has completed their qualifying. We've 10 drivers so far qualified. I do believe we have more than that. So some guys maybe deciding to start in the back. I know I talked to Chris Johnson. That was kind of what his strategy was. He felt like, hey, I'm safe tonight. Like, I don't have to worry about my ticket to the Final Four. I
Is he
already have
though?
it. He
Is
already
he
has
really
it.
safe? But is he really safe? Is anybody out there safe at Martinsville? I mean, this is a track that is a rattlesnake and a copperhead and a king snake all in the very same package. You know what I mean? It just depends on what end of it you grab, because it's definitely going to turn up and could possibly bite some people. Now, we have had plenty of time to get practice in, as it is Saturday, and we did arrive at Martinsville on Monday. So usually the Saturday night races are sometimes a little bit more calmer because drivers have had a lot more time to be out there. But you never can turn away what could possibly happen. We'll look at looks like qualifying's coming to an end, Brian. We'll go ahead and step away and hear that magnificent national anthem, and we'll be right back getting ready with your starting lineup.
Race fans, it is time for those most famous words in motorsports.
Drivers, start your engine!
And we are back, ladies and gentlemen. We have our grid set for this evening's action at Martinsville Speedway. Chris Severa going to be starting on the pole here with Abner Acosta in second place. Don Avery going to be starting in third place, Frank Flores. Eighth place, Ryan Strunk. Ninth place, Greg Wachinski. And rounding out our top 10 here is Kenny Powell.
Darren Mullis is going to be in P11 with Josh Schaffner. P12, Chris Johnson in 1-3 with Paul Olson alongside him in 14th. And Gary Adamson rounds out this 15-car field.
Yeah, a little bit less drivers out here tonight, so should be some good, clean, and green racing as the pace car dips down for the first time. And Chris Severa going to have the field in hand. Let's see what he can do. I don't know, though. I mean, on Thursday we saw on the first lap Mark Padgett able to make a pass on the top. But let's see what happens here as we enter the Geico restart zone, and the green flag is out.
Wow.
Oh, big wreck. 11.
Hit sideways into the back of the 42 of Jose Acosta. Looks like Jose was the only one that possibly could have got caught up in that. He did have some significant contact. Hopefully he was able to avoid that dreaded meatball flag, and he was.
Take a look back at this accident. I think Don Avery just tried to get back onto the gas and maybe was in the wrong gear, or just got a little too much on it, and the wheels, the cold tires just were not cooperating there. As you see right here, boom, just all of a sudden turns to the right and just tags the 42, and then the 42 gets tagged by Kendall LeVron. Let's look through the cockpit camera here, Don Avery, and see what was going on with his steering wheel. Take a look here through the cockpit camera here as they're getting ready to go green. Yeah, really didn't mess with the steering wheel. I think the tires just were not gripping.
Yeah, it's just a throttle thing.
That is just unfortunate for Jose Acosta in the championship fight right now, too. He's 4th in the points right now. This is gonna hurt him.
Well, you got to find the silver lining in these things, man. You can't just look at the negative. So hopefully he can turn these lemons into maybe some lemonade or something, and maybe you take them and spread them out over top of some shrimp scampi. I don't know. He's just got to manifest his own destiny on this one, though.
He definitely does, and it looks like the car doesn't look too bad right now, so hopefully he'll be okay.
Yeah, I mean, it's early on, too, and so that's we're already up to 1 caution, so. But it was, I know for a fact Don Avery did not do that, intentionally. That was just one of those unfortunate racing incidences. And this track, man, it's a tricky track. You got to be very, very careful, especially on those initial starts.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I was surprised we didn't see anything like that on Thursday, but it even could have been, like I mentioned, something to do with the gearing in that machine, possibly, hitting a power band at just the wrong time, and it kind of just kicked the tires, made them spin, and it went to one side. I mean, it's just unfortunate for sure, but hopefully no one going to be heavily impacted by this, of course.
Especially as far as he was in the pack, he no doubt would have been starting in first gear, so.
And a lot of guys have been talking about using different gears. I mean, we have some guys with 3rd to 4th gear setups, and we have some that are just using 3rd completely. Talking to some of the drivers, there's a vast array of different setups being utilized here tonight. Of course, this is an open setup series.
And one thing too, what we will do here a little bit later on is once we start get everything situated and stabilized, if that does happen, we'll actually get to ride along with some of these drivers. You'll get a first-hand view from their cockpit, and then you'll be able to see which one of these guys is actually running the 3rd gear setup versus the 2nd gear setup. I don't know what the pace car is doing, but he's actually exercising his right for free speech as he is coming down pit road.
And Chris Rivera goes really early there. Just gets a huge gap here. Now almost 8/10 back to Chris Rivera, or Kendall LeBron, I should.
Yeah, and everything behind him is just pandemonium right now. As Ryan Strunk is making his way up. He is in 4th place, got the 117 of Thomas O'Hara along his outside, and Don Avery holding firm there and just outside of the top 5.
Yeah, and I heard a lot of the guys saying that it was a lot looser here tonight than it was on Thursday. The guys that did race on Thursday, said that the temperature of the track was a lot less, and it made the car kind of just want to spin a little bit more. As we see Chris Johnson have some contact back in the back there with Frank Flores.
Yeah, Flores definitely high right now. He's going to be doing everything he can to maintain that position. Almost cutting off the 5 of Greg Wyszynski. Wyszynski didn't fare too well on Thursday. Definitely going to be wanting to see if he can't better his hand here tonight. Because Gary Adamson now also is going to get around to 5, the 8 of Flores, sorry.
Yeah, of course, Gary Adamson in desperate need of a good finish here. I do believe looking at the points here, he is 7th right now. So he is essentially in a must-win situation along with Paul Olson.
Yeah, Chris Rivera definitely leading this field now, and the top 3 definitely have pulled their legs out and got a little bit of a run there on the rest of the field, which is kind of odd. But the good thing is, green flag racing. I kind of got a little bit of racing PTSD because we called a race last night, and I think we had 24 cautions, so.
Yeah, no, I don't blame you for having a little bit of PTSD for that one. That was quite the ordeal, as we do see the battling still happening here for this 4th place position. Thomas O'Hara trying to work his way back up to the back bumper there of Ryan Strunk, but Strunk trying to pull away. Still a big gap in between 3rd and 4th here. I do believe over 2 seconds right now. So the top 3 have definitely pulled out into their own zip code.
Yeah, definitely. And Strunk's going to do what he can to maintain his position. You got to good on him and Thomas O'Hara. These guys were kind of not up front on Thursday. So good to see him out there tonight, kind of showing that their setup is actually good and that their team also can come out here and make a dent in this trophy.
Yeah, looking at the cockpit camera here, Chris Severa here. Looks like he's staying in third gear right now. Taking a look further back to see Kendall LeVron. It looks like he is also hovering in that third gear. And you see Abner Acosta with a ton of speed right there behind Kendall LeVron. Looks like the top three all in third gear setups right now.
Well, that third gear setup is going to keep those RPMs up a lot higher, and is going to give you the ability to get that drive off and not have it bogged down too much. So, plus it takes the need out to shift. And, as these guys get running, I'm sure they'll be adjusting their brake bias, and some of them will probably even start to have to maybe go to shifting. I don't know. It just depends on how it runs.
Yeah, I mean, especially, the longer you get into the run, the tires are starting to wear. You're not holding as much of a pace, so it might be worth it to try to, throw some shifting action into that. As we have fallen off a little bit, but not very much. Only 0.2. Of course, we did see on Thursday that the fall off could even go over a second.
Oh, yeah, absolutely, especially once we get into that third stage. But right now, these first stages being only 50 laps, these guys are going to go out there and they're probably going to run it a little bit harder than they would once we get ready to run that tank of gas out. But all in all, though, I think they're going to be just fine here in this first stage.
Yeah, taking a look at the track facts right quick. 65-degree air temp. 77 on the actual racetrack, so it hasn't changed much since practice as we see Abner Acosta on the inside of Kendall LeVron, a challenge for second. Looks like Abner definitely has the superior car right now as he is wrapping it right around the bottom, and he's going to get clear of Kendall LeVron.
Yeah, no need to fight this early, just live to fight another day, I guess you'd say. Abner's really not even in the short series points. He is, though, in that Super Cup series points. So,
yeah, I do believe Abner, I think he's at the top of the board in the actual Cup series. Kendall LeVron also not even, he's in the Cup series, but he's not in the Super Cup, just considering he actually is kind of an immigrant from that Thursday series over here to Saturday.
Yeah, Abner's probably got more wins than anybody else than the rest of the field combined, so.
He does. He definitely does.
Yeah, he has definitely been a pretty cool addition to this Saturday night field.
Yeah, he's cranked the heat up on the likes of like Chris Severa, who usually comes out here and doesn't have to be challenged quite as much. But here comes Kenny Powell on the inside.
Keeps Chris honest.
Here comes Kenny Powell, going to be on the inside of Don Avery. I think he might have this pass here. Kenny Powell desperately needs as many stage points as he can. Of course, he's in third in the points right now, but that's not a safe place to be.
No, because he is right there with Jose Acosta in the points, so he's going to be trying to do everything he can. Yeah, because here's the deal: you're not safe unless you win. You gotta win it to get in it. That's the way they got to look at it.
Yeah, for sure. 100%. Of course, you can point your way in, but you want to do it in the best way possible. Winning is that best way possible.
Yeah.
You saw Chris Johnson start further back in the pack. He's working his way up. He's now caught up to Don Avery here. And, of course, Chris Johnson is safe when it comes to the points. Of course, not safe on the racetrack, but he looks like he's not letting that fire die down as we see Paul Olson down pit road.
Yeah, Olson was struggling a little bit in practice, so not sure. He might be doing a starting park, maybe.
Possibly. Of course, he's 8th in the points, so that is going to pretty much take him out of the, he's not going to have the ability to make it to the Final Four. Look at this, though. Abner Acosta has caught up to Chris Severa. Battle for the lead, I do believe, going to happen soon.
Yeah, that was going to be a timing thing because we're just coming up to about 22 laps left in this stage. And so that's about the time that Abner was going to go make his move. Now he's just going to put pressure on Severa because this is not an easy track to pass at. So this is definitely going to be an awesome challenge as well as a battle for the lead here.
Yeah, one thing about it, though, if Chris Severa is able to hold that bottom, it's going to be very difficult for Abner to be able to try to pass. So, he might run a little bit narrow. But the thing is, if you do that, then you're going to be sacrificing your speed. So you just want to kind of you don't want to block Abner, but you definitely want to make sure that he does not have many opportunities to try to get underneath you.
Yeah, and they are also going to be really starting to encroach the back of the 64. Darren Mullins, he will be the first car indeed in jeopardy of going a lap down. So it's going to determine what Mullins does. If Mullins is going to be the nice guy and maybe ditch it down pit road, that's one thing. But no matter what, they're going to have to contend with him, and they will be contending with him in this stage, Brian.
That they will. We got us a nice camera here, right rear, going back to Abner Acosta. I love this camera, Big Al. See the red glow of the, brake rotors also heavy at this track. You see a lot of that, these brakes getting up. Look at that. It lights up almost orange there.
Yeah, and that's going to be another thing. Depending on where these guys have those brakes set, based on if they're going to be more forward, more aft, because what you want to do is you want to keep those brakes somewhat balanced so you don't cause them to fade. You don't want to get those rotors heated up too much, because if you do heat them up too much and go in there just one turn and slam on them, I guarantee you they're not going to be there for you.
No, definitely. That's a resource just like tires. I mean, you can't lock them up, and we saw a lot of lockups at Thursday. Oh, the 36 loses it in front of Jose Acosta, but luckily he's able to save it, and Jose safely navigates around, but the 36 definitely on the loose side right now.
Yeah, this is that point in this first stage, especially if the guys got their cars set up for a shorter run. As we see, the 117 is way high on the racetrack. He looks like he is at the end of his rope, proverbial rope that is, so he is starting to kind of fall back a little bit as well.
Yeah, tire fall off has been terrible here for Thomas O'Hare. I do believe last time by 22.4 was his lap time, so he has fallen off substantially.
Another driver that seems to be suffering from the woes of fall off a tree, that's going to be the 42 of Jose Acosta. Definitely not running his fastest laps of the night right now, but he is slowly starting to encroach upon the space there that the 117 has. But just like that, Chris Severa is rolling into the back of Darren Mullins, and he's at risk right now of being the first car on the track to go a lap down.
Here comes Abner. He's trying to line up. He's going to get side by side for the lead. This is not the time to catch up to lap traffic, but Abner taking his shot when he can get it.
Yeah, it looks like Severa was trying to get the drive off there, just got a little bit squirrely backed out of it, pedaled through the turn, going to set himself up to try to maintain or battle for the first position. But here comes Abner now, and just like that, they're caught up to the 64 Mullins. He's not really getting out of the way, so it's just making it a little bit more swirly for everybody.
It's difficult to get out of the way of this track, though. I mean, there's not a whole lot you can do when you're that lap car. I mean, going higher on the racetrack, of course, that's what you want to try to do, but your car, it's already not handling well, so you're going to ask it to do something that's going to make it even worse,
Yeah, I'm not mad at him. I mean, and he did nothing wrong. I was just adding that to the point of that just makes it a little bit more sporty around this racetrack. We'll tend to go into this stage, and once we get to that long stage, Brian, we're going to have a myriad of different cars out there on the track, and I think that's going to be our greatest chance of possibly seeing a caution. But right now, we've had a lead chance, and Abner Acosta leading the way here.
Yeah, definitely is. And, I think Severa might be a little bit okay with Abner getting up here and getting these, the stage win or maybe even the win itself, just considering, Severa, he probably prefers someone else to maybe win. Of course, he maybe not prefer it, but, I mean, if anybody's going to win, it would be somebody that's not a contender in the Super Cup series,
Do you hear how you sound right now?
No, I'm just saying, like, he's not in the Super Cup standings, like, for the Final Four. Like, if Abner won, it wouldn't change much.
Yeah, I mean, that's great. But, maybe Chris I don't know. I mean, maybe Abner's the fastest car on the track right now. Maybe it is what it is. I think you read too much into it.
Yeah, I mean, it definitely could be. I'm just – that's why I felt like Chris wasn't too – didn't fight him that hard. That's what I was kind of trying to say. Yeah,
it's not time to fight. I mean, it's the first stage. Chris knows that he is right now P2 in the points, right? So why tear it up too bad? Because not all of these guys are going to even change all four tires here when they come into the pits at the end of this stage.
Yeah, we did see on Thursday, I think Chris Johnson pulled that strategy.
Yeah, pit strategies, they're going to start early, I believe. So you got to do whatever you can to gain an advantage right here, man. And that's just it, because on this racetrack, I mean, track position matters so much. And now the Abner's in that clean air, man. He is starting to pull away a little bit from the 62 of Severa.
Yeah, but he's starting to catch up to a lot of lap traffic right now. Is Greg Wychinski going to be in danger of going a lap down here? I think he might just have just enough time. We're now 5 laps to go.
And we've seen the effect that not only lap traffic, but just traffic in general can have on one's chance, hopes, and dreams. You know, Abner Acosta himself kind of fell victim of that. I do believe we were at a road course. So, you know, it's one thing to be fast here, man, but once you kind of get caught up in there in the midst of everything, you just don't know what cards you're going to get dealt sometimes.
100%. I think a lot of guys are going to be definitely coming down pit road, making some adjustments to these race cars. And like you said, also the pit strategy could be good to get out in front and hold that track position. But, I mean, I don't know. I mean, I think some adjustments will probably be worth it at this stage in the race.
Well, if you got your car set up on the long run, I mean, you might be well within your right to not even pit here within the first stage. That is a possibility as well, as the white flag should be out here in the stage next time by. Abner Acosta, though, definitely doing everything that he needs to do. And Chris Severa, you know, hey, use Chris Severa, right? Almost like Superman out there sometimes.
Yeah, for sure. You don't ever count him out, that's for sure. Is Greg Wychinski trying to hold on. He is under so much fire right now from Abner Acosta.
Don't look back, Greg.
Yeah, don't look in your rearview mirror. There's a shark back there.
Yeah, I mean, he is doing everything that he can to stay on the lead lap, because if he doesn't stay on the lead lap, that even changes his pit strategy.
For sure. We should see the caution any time now. We just got to wait for the 10th place car of Gary Adamson to cross the line.
I think that's going to do it right there. Stage 1 should be in the books.
It does look like they were actually able to complete an extra lap there. So that could change things for the stage 2.
Abner Acosta, your stage 1 winner with Chris Severa in P2. Coming with Ron coming across in 3rd, with Ryan Strunk in 4th, Kenny Powell 5th, Chris D. Johnson in 6th, Don Avery in 7th, Jose Acosta in 8th, Thomas O'Hara in 9th, and Gary Adamson rounds out those top 10 points pin positions, ladies and gentlemen. With round 1 in the books, or stage 1 rather, we're going to go ahead and take a brief step away, get a word from our sponsors, and we'll be back with whoever Brian decides to talk to.
At Farmers, we know a thing or two because we've seen a thing or two, like how nice it is to switch and save on your auto policy. But it's even nicer knowing that if this happens, or this happens, or this, or even this, we've seen and covered it. So call 1-800-FARMERS to switch your auto policy, and you could save an average of $470. Get a quote today.
We are farmers. Bum, 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 bum.
And we are back, ladies and gentlemen. We just saw, while we were under commercial break, Chris Johnson leapfrogs everyone and takes over the top spot starting stage number 2. But, of course, we're going to talk to Abner Acosta here. Abner, stage 1 victory. You were able to outmuscle there Chris Severa. I mean, that car must be feeling pretty good.
Yeah, I'm feeling a little more comfortable now. During practice, I honestly was spinning out a lot and having a lot of issues. So definitely with the longer run, everything just started coming back to me. So I was able to get around.
Now, does this concern you, seeing Chris Johnson in front of you?
A little bit, since I'm not familiar with him. But tire-wise, he should be fine if he change only rights, I'm assuming. Since the lefts are usually like 99%. So I'm sure he'll be fine.
Well, definitely probably maybe use that strategy later in the race if you find yourself in a bit of trouble, man. I mean, you had a fast car. I mean, it seems like it's got good long run. You're able to kind of pull away there on Chris Severa. Great job to you. I mean, I know this is going to help you out in the Cup Series points. Of course, you're not really eligible for the Super Cup, but great job to you. Who can we get a shout-out before we let you get back to it?
Yeah, I want to thank you guys, obviously, for broadcasting, the league, ISCA, and Bandereta Racing Team. Thank you.
All righty. Well, we know the pace car lights are out. We'll talk to you hopefully later. That was Abner Acosta, our Stage 1 winner. And here we go. Pace car lights are out. Getting ready to get this thing back underway. Get the motor cranked back up, Big Al.
Yeah, definitely. And like he said, he's probably not familiar with Chris D. Johnson, but Chris D. Johnson is no stranger to the lead, no stranger to the rain, and no stranger to controversy. And there he goes, getting an excellent start, really leaving Abner out. The 28 of Kendall LeBron really caught sleeping. That causes a huge checkup in the back. The 42 of Jose actually made contact with him. Jose not making too much damage out of that, but now he and little brother Abner both kind of dealing with woes here in the start of stage 2.
Yeah, I mean, you see Ryan Strunk making a big move here up into third place now. That's Chris Johnson trying to hold on to the lead as he's got a lot of pressure here from the other Chris Severa. But Abner going to be recovering, and I'm sure he's going to be hitting the ground running here if he could just get by Ryan Strunk. Strunk, of course, very fast in practice.
Yeah, and one thing, like you said, he was not really familiar with Chris Johnson, but Chris Johnson caught him sleeping just a little bit. Excellent launch there for the restart. His first time up front, so now we'll see how long he can actually keep it there, but he is going to have his G&G teammate, Chris Severa, is going to be wanting to get back up front so he can stretch his legs once again as well.
Yeah, but Johnson's not looking bad. I mean, he's got some really good exit speed right now. You see, he backs it up in the corners and just launches.
And one thing, too, to note here for these drivers, you can see at the end of this, he'll have 100 laps on his right side, on his left side tires, so right side tires, right?
Oh, Severo goes up the track, almost showing a doorway there for Ryan Strunk.
But if he can maintain pace right there with only changing one side of tires, a lot of drivers will be able to use that strategy, especially on that last stop in stage 3.
See Abner Acosta desperate to try to get around Ryan Strunk here. But Strunk not giving him any holes or anything to try to sneak through.
Yeah, a lot of drivers right now are driving on the seat of their pants, man. They're right at the edge of that comfort zone, and that's going to cause a little bit more risque racing because this stage not being as long as the last stage. Guys are kind of starting to feel desperate when it comes to those stage points.
Yeah, definitely. There is not going to be any give and take, especially because what is on the line? I mean, the final 4 positions in the Super Cup playoffs. That is what's on the line.
Yeah, points matter. Don't say they don't, right?
Oh, they definitely matter 100%. So much in this race. I mean, every stage, depending on how you compete, could make it to where if you go to the Final 4 or not. I mean,
Abner gets around. Well, Chris Severa gets around the 48 of Chris D. Johnson as he went really hot in there. And that's going to cause him to slide way up the racetrack. He actually lost 3 positions on that and is not done losing yet. And I don't know if this is something maybe by design or if he's just finding himself in a very loose condition there and trying to figure it out. But just like that, Chris Severa now going to go ahead and jump back up into the lead of this thing.
Yeah, I think he just kind of sailed it in a little too hard. Maybe just, forgot his marks there for a second.
Yeah, and I was just getting ready to say that he was our big mover of the race because he started in 12th and was in the lead, but a little bit too premature there on the speech there, Big Al.
Oh, hey, you didn't say it. I mean,
well, I did say that I was going to say it, though.
You just did, so you told on yourself.
I'm a snitch, man.
For now, Chris Severa back up on the throne, but don't ever count any of these other guys out.
Yeah, Abner definitely going to be trying to waste no time to get around the 77 around Strunk. I can guarantee you he is already setting him up right now, just like a killer well would, because he is going to get back up front. Now, he does understand Severa, so I think he is going to try to go ahead and get back up front in the lead here, and I don't think he's going to want to be in traffic just because the air is dirtier and the probability of getting caught up are going to be greater.
We talk about this being a short track. Well, I'll tell you what, they still get some great speed here. You see the driver little thing we have there on the side. They get up to 120 mile an hour there. I mean, that's pretty fast. Oh, Ryan Strunk loses it. Abner hits him in the rear end.
And that's exactly why Abner wants to get back up in front of this thing, because those things like that, that's what you risk. Anytime that you're around other cars, the only time you're really safe from that is when you're up front. So you see now, here he comes. He's going to get on the inside of Strunk, go ahead and collect that pass, and he's going to be trying to distance himself from Ryan Strunk as fast as he can.
Yeah, Strunk definitely having some major handling woes there. And a lot of times when it comes to a track like this, the more you slide the tires, the worse that's going to get. As here comes Kenny Powell, going to be trying to take.
Oh, and the 28 of Kendall LeBron is around, and he makes contact with the wall. That is going to bring out our second caution of the night outside of the stage. Let's take a look at that, Brian. I think you're going to like to see what happens there. I think it just comes down to throttle control. He just gets in there a little bit too rich, and then the tail end just goes out on him.
Yeah, that was through the beginning of the corner there, so he got on the brakes, and it just was not cooperating with him there. Luckily, it wasn't too much damage, but it was a solid shot there on that wall. Just lucky he didn't break a toe link in that situation. That has been something we definitely see here at Martinsville.
But he did make significant contact with the right rear quarter panel of that car, so will not be surprised to see him come down pit road to get some much-needed TLC on that bad boy, on that 28BC. But just an unfortunate set of circumstances for him, as he was running good. But like I said, Brian, a lot of guys were out there, and they were really pushing it to the edge of that comfort zone. We saw a lot more racier racing in Stage 2 than we did in Stage 1, right?
Yeah, I'd say so. I mean, a lot of guys probably getting more desperate as it goes on. And, of course, this is a long race, 250 laps. I mean, by the end of this thing, these guys are going to be at their wits' end. And, mental fatigue going to be starting to show up. And then also just probably getting a little bit emotional. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised. I mean, Martinsville brings out the worst in people in a lot of ways.
It doesn't seem like it's a short track because it's almost like a dang a pit bully, I guess you'd say, one of those little miniature. But it's got the veracity, it's got that racing that you get because you are in there, and it is kind of multi-groove, but it's 2 grooves and you can drive it in. So it plays. It looks a lot different than it plays, I guess is what I'm trying to say. Like, these guys are really wheeling it down there, It's a lot of focus on this thing, and you've got to be so precise on the throttle as well as the brakes and the balance of those two. Even down on the restarts, these guys, you got to make sure that the car's pointed the right direction. It's not a track that you can just show up and be great at. I mean,
no, not at all. I mean, this is definitely a track you have to put some practice in. I mean, you have to know where the marks are. I mean, because this is not a track you just show up to. If you miss your marks, it could be a catastrophe at a track like this. I mean, this is not a track you just, we've seen that plenty of mile and a half where people can do that. You can't do that at Martinsville, as we see the pace car, of course, is down pit road. Chris Severa jumps way early, right out of the exit of 4. He just gasses it up.
And I think that's a genius start because these guys are not restricted to the Geico restart zone.
And he catches everybody sleeping, but Abner Acosta not going to let that go. He is right there still on the back of Chris Severa.
And look at how quick we've got this thing down to single file. I mean, usually with other series, sometimes it'll take 4 or 5 laps. These guys immediately falling back into line here. And now, you just got to be cognizant and you got to kind of stay in formation. You got to do what those geese do. That's going to be your best way of not falling behind here.
100%. Well, I'm very impressed, though, with Gary Adamson. Of course, he's 7th place in the points right now. He's sitting 6th on the grid, so definitely a great job for that 36. He's doing exactly what he needs to do in that Ford.
Yeah, absolutely. And we are some 21 laps left in this stage before it hits the books. So right now, I think the name of the game is going to be follow the leader, as Abner Acosta now is starting to reel in Chris Severa, putting a little bit of a gap over the 77 of Ryan Strunk. But, hey, he has been running about P3 here for the majority of the evening, so I think that's just a position where he's going to be comfortable at now. It's going to depend on how patient Jose Acosta is with him, because Jose really fell off a lot here in that last stage. So once his tires kind of hit that mark, maybe he made some adjustments, maybe he didn't, but he really kind of fell off there about 30 laps on his tires here in the last stage.
Check out this battle for the lead. They are side-by-side drag racing for this lead position. Of course, Chris Severa's had a problem sticking it down on the bottom. We keep seeing him sliding up the racetrack. Well, finally, it does look like Abner has come out on top. But I've been noticing the handling conditions there for Severa. I do believe his race car is tight, or he's missing the mark just a little bit when it comes to his entry.
Yeah, but you can't discount Abner's speed, man. This guy's he's a tremendous racer, great pace, and I think the advantage Chris is going to get now is he's just going to be able to follow Abner Acosta for a little while and no pressure, because these two, what they're going to do is they're just going to try to ride off into the sunset. And I think Strunk's just kind of on a Sunday stroll there in the middle, and I think this is going to set the tone here for what we're going to see here in the third stage.
Yeah. Tell you what, though, Ryan Strunk's last lap was faster than both of the leaders here, but I don't know if that's sustainable.
Well, yeah, they were just absolutely caught up in there with each other,
Battling,
probably. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, for sure. No, I agree totally with what you're saying about Chris Severa needing to follow right down behind Abner. Try to learn. Take a. You're never too good to learn a lesson. You know what I mean? And watching someone how they're doing something and try to figure out how they're doing it.
Well, I'm not even saying try to learn. I'm just saying just try to chill, because there's no pressure on them. I mean, I'd just run right behind Abner and just, keep going.
I mean, this is a good, definitely a good way for him to guarantee his way into the next, round, the final four.
Yeah, because even when they come into lap traffic, it's still going to be Abner that's got to be the bull, if you will. He's going to be the one that's kind of leading the way. So if I'm Severa, heck yeah, I'm just going to follow this dude all the way through to the end of this thing.
Now I do believe we have 14 laps to go here in this stage, and Abner Acosta is your leader. Ryan Strunk sitting in third place, doing a great job here. But Jose Acosta, one of the big movers. Of course, you mentioned before he was not very good in stage one, but he's looking like he's pretty good right now, but he's hounded by Kenny Powell.
Well, yeah, Powell has to hound him because these two guys are not just competing for positions on the racetrack, but they're competing for a slot in the championship. And that's one of the biggest battles, I think, that's going on that a lot of people might not even be aware of. So Powell knows that the points are going to matter, so he is going to have to get around Jose, period.
Especially if someone else wins, like that is in the playoffs. So let's say, someone else wins this race. Ryan Strunk wins this race. I mean, that would change a lot of the picture here for sure. And, that would kick whoever's in fourth in the points out. So that's why Kenny's fighting Jose so hard, because he's like, if I need to make sure that Jose does not take my spot to where I'm in danger if someone else wins this race. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. 10 to go in the stage, and you could not be closer to the truth. So Powell cannot sleep on Jose, period, because you only get an opportunity to get stage points twice in a race. People might not understand that. Anytime you get an opportunity to get points, you have to get the point. You can't let the points pass. It doesn't work that way. You can't say, I'll just get them next time. There's no next time. Right now, Powell, if he doesn't gobble on those points here, because, hey, we're coming up to turkey season, he might be sitting back watching this thing from the outside.
Yeah, you definitely don't want that. I mean, even a man like Kendall LeBron passing Kenny Powell is big when it comes to the points, because that's one less point that Kenny Powell gets. So he's fighting for every single spot right now, trying to hold on to this top 5 position, because every spot in this stage matters when it comes to how many points you get.
Do you think they understand how important points are yet? Because I'm going to probably reiterate it about 1,100 more times. 50-11, that's what my Aunt Brenda would say. 50-11 more times.
Here comes Kendall LeBron. He's on the inside of Kenny Powell. Powell just lets him have it, I do believe. Probably not worth trying to fight on the top side and burn your equipment up here.
Well, you got to stop the car before you can turn the car. And I think that was more of a situation, was if you can't stop it that tight to get it down there about the bottom, you're going to be sliding up. So I think instead of him trying to be somewhere that he couldn't physically be, he just let the car go ahead and turn itself around the higher side of the track.
Oh, Kenny Powell kind of going up the racetrack a little bit there.
Yeah, so that's going to make me wonder kind of what kind of setup Powell's running here tonight, because if he's going to be this loose at about 43 laps, maybe this is just a crappy part of the sandwich, and we'll get back to the good part, because he's going to have to figure something out here, especially as we get ready to go into this longer run where these guys are going to have to make sure that they can get at least the majority of that 114 laps out of that tank. That's going to be the key, and then you'll have to navigate whether you're going to run that on the short side or the long side. 3 laps to go here. Be 2 laps to go here next time by.
Yeah, a lot of battling going on throughout the pack here. We're kind of taking a look at the battle there, I do believe, between Greg Wyszynski and Thomas O'Hara. As Abner Acosta going to be taking the white flag for the stage here anytime. And he's going to go back-to-back. And I think if I'm not mistaken, didn't we see on Thursday where the stage winner won back-to-back, right? And the race winner himself, Mark Paget,
it was a hat trick. Yep, Mark Paget with the hat trick.
So could that happen again tonight? One person winning all the stages and the race. Could happen.
Well, it very well could, but the biggest thing that we're going to just have to do is run these laps and see how this thing plays out. But you know what, though? With stage 2 in the books, Abner Acosta, your stage 2 winner.
Tell you what, yep, definitely the stage is going to be over here. Chris Severa, I do believe, going to be able to grab that second position. Still waiting on the caution, and there it is. Ryan Strunk in 3rd. 4th place, Jose Acosta. 5th place, Kendall LeBron. 6th place, Kenny Powell. 7th place, Gary Adamson. 8th place, Greg Wyszynski. 9th place, Thomas O'Hara. And 10th place, Don Avery there.
Kenny Powell's definitely kicking himself, man, because he is leaving. Oh, and Thomas O'Hara is sideways on the racetrack. Not sure what that's about.
Take a look back at this and see what just happened to Thomas O'Hara. Still hasn't happened yet. Of course, caution is out on the speedway. Oh, it looks like he was trying to brake there to try to avoid hitting Wyszynski, and Don Avery just smashed into him.
Man, that's never good.
No, not at all. Avery just smashed right into him. That is not going to be a fun conversation after this race between those two. Well, let's take a quick step away. We'll be right back with whoever Big Al wants to talk to.
Ow. Ew. Ow. Ew.
Want relief from tough pain without the tough taste? Try Goody's Cool Orange. Goody's fast, Goody's delicious. Because pain relief shouldn't be a pain to take. Goody's flavors, taking the pain out of pain relief.
At Farmers, we know a thing or two because we've seen a thing or two, like how nice it is to switch and save on your auto policy. But it's even nicer knowing that if this happens, or this happens, or this, or even this, we've seen and covered it. So call 1-800-FARMERS to switch your auto policy, and you could save an average of $470. Get a quote today.
We are farmers. Bum, 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 bum.
We are back, ladies and gentlemen, as because we were kind of identifying what happened to Thomas O'Hara there, and we had to pay our attention to our sponsors. I don't believe we're going to be able to speak to one of these drivers, of course, because you can see the pace car is already dipping down pit road, and we're getting ready to get back green.
I'm a giver.
Well, there we go. Green flag out. Abner Acosta wasting no time. Chris Severa also with a great start there. Side by side for that 3rd place position, though, as Jose Acosta tries to work the high side.
And you'll see these guys are going to be battling a little bit harder right now because everybody wants to try to get track position. You don't want to settle for just being, somewhere in the middle. You got to try to fight for every position and then get in line.
Contact. The 42 He's going to go around. Oh, the 5 gets into 24. Caution is out.
Yep, that's what I was saying. Track position was going to really matter.
Take a look at this. The 42 had gotten clear, tried to drop down in front of the 24. The 24 just had so much momentum, and boom, right there. Just some contact. Wasn't major contact, but then what was really hurting was that the 5 of Greg Wachowski came in and kind of tagged Kenny Powell also. Well, I guess with this caution, Big Al, we can talk to someone now.
Yeah, Powell's not definitely. He didn't get hit anywhere that I believe it's going to hurt.
So who we talking to, Big Al?
We'll talk to the 24, Powell.
All righty.
Kenny Powell, Big Al in the booth. Kenny Powell, Big Al in the booth. You got me?
I got you.
Man, what happened?
Racing hard. We'll have to look at the videotape on that one, but I'm not going to claim fault for that one just yet. That was, in my opinion, he came down a little bit, so we'll see. I absolutely didn't want the contact to happen. So I laid off of him as soon as it did, and tried for both of us not to get any damage. And then I get wiped it out from the back end, so I'm not sure how much damage I got. Hopefully not too much.
Well, you almost find yourself in a really need to win situation here, but not doing too good for the first 2 stages. Is it a handling thing? You just holding back? What do you got in store for us?
I'm just trying to play it safe. I'm not in a must win. I'm just in a need to run a good race. So that's what I'm trying to do.
It sounds better. It sounds better when I say must win. Hey, look, the lights are off on the pace car. Who are you going to give your mini shout out to so we can let you get back at it?
Just all the Gas and Go crew. We've had a great week. It's been fun.
Roger that, boss. Looking forward to talking to you at the end of the race. Good luck.
All right.
That was Kenny Powell, of course, driver of the 24. We're going to be going back green here as Abner Acosta once again in control. And there they go.
Green, green, green.
We're closing in closely on the halfway point of this race as Abner able to get a good start there. Chris Severo able to hold off Ryan Strunk, even though he was starting from that high side. I mean, that's pretty impressive there, because I know usually the high side here is a death sentence when you have to start up there.
Yeah, Darren Mullins is definitely regrouped, man. Now he went from almost being lapped to he's actually up here battling for. He's in the top 10. He's the 6th place. He's got Don Avery on the inside of him. Avery definitely got a little bit squirrely there. I don't think so. Maybe he's just trying to give him plenty of room as these two are going to be side by side here coming into the turn. Mullins is definitely going to have to get in line sooner than later, though, because otherwise he's just going to watch the majority of the field pass him by.
Yeah, for sure. You see Avery trying to hold off all these charging people, and Kenny Powell now side by side with the 64. Powell, of course, trying to recover from that issue that he just had. Oh, Don Avery sideways.
And he
caution.
Through it. Way to go, Don Avery. Oh, and right out of the smoke there, here comes Jose Acosta. It's like, whoa, where'd that car come from out there, that cloud of smoke? That's Don Avery that got a little bit loose there coming around that turn.
Here comes Kenny Powell side by side with Gary Adamson. Powell probably just had the fright of his life as the 11 had spun right in front of him.
Yeah, and that's what we're talking about, though. It'll reach out and grab you all the way, and Avery's still having a hard time controlling that 11 car. Not sure what's going on with him.
Yeah, definitely scary situations happening here. He could easily spin out, bring a caution, so I'm wondering what's going on handling-wise.
Absolutely. As Gary Adamson is doing everything he can as he is starting to bunch up on the back of Powell. And that's going to attract the likes of the 8 of Frank Flores as well as the 117 of Thomas O'Hara. So there is blood in the water here.
Yeah, that there is. There's definitely a lot of points up for grab right now. Definitely everybody trying their best to do whatever they can to get those points as we get closer and closer to that halfway. A lot of these guys are bunched up quite a bit. Of course, I do believe between 5th and 6th, though, there's quite a bit of a gap.
Yeah, and the bigger problem with these guys is, okay, let's just say this. So Abner just ran a 19.269. And these guys back in traffic are already 2.5 tenths of a second slower than he is. So if they don't figure out how to bust this cluster, I mean, they're going to find themselves all getting ready to go laps down.
Saw Frank Flores. Oh, he just tagged the wall after just locking his tires up.
He's in no man's land out there. You know, that's what happens when they slide up on you.
Yeah, a lot of these guys definitely having to deal with all the drivers around them. And at a track like this, you got to hit your marks. I mean, yeah, you have to race the other drivers, but you also have to race the racetrack. If the guys around you are causing you to hit your marks, you need to refigure this out, reanalyze what you're doing.
You got to get a rhythm, or you get the blues. Come on, get the rhythm. You get the blues. Come on and get the rhythm.
Karaoke tonight.
Karaoke. But that is exactly what you got to do. You got to get the race rhythm going around this track, and you got to feel that, because you got to keep repeating that as perfect as possible every time you come around this, because that's going to be the consistency part. You know what I mean? And you really can't get wrapped up about the driver in front of you. You kind of got to get in your own head and try to make sure that your laps are as perfect as they possibly can be.
I definitely think Kenny Powell's hit a stride here. Looking at his lap times, he's running faster than almost everybody in front of him except for the 2 leaders.
Now, I think the biggest problem is going to be, and I'm gonna do it. I'm going to call out the 64 Darren Mullins. I think right now Mullins has himself in a position that he is in the middle of the field, but he might not be as fast as some of these guys that are in and around him, and that's going to cause not only kind of a choke point, but it's going to cause kind of a rub. That's going to be a point of contention and frustration there, as these guys are going to be, seeing the leaders and the other guys slip away as we're halfway in this thing, Brian.
Yep, we just have crossed the halfway point. These guys now 23 laps on their equipment here. Of course, 115 is the fuel window, so we still have quite a ways to go until we see green flag pit stops being a necessity.
Yeah, absolutely. And you want to try to run out that as long as you can, so that way you'll have good tires on the short side of the window. So you want the drivers in the car right now just to get comfortable, kind of run their own race, just kind of conserve, take it easy, and we'll bring that thing in when we need to put some gas in it. And then I think you take the gamble even of maybe just putting 2 tires on it and running to the end.
Yeah, I think we've seen other guys try to do that, on other occasions, and it could definitely be the strategy to take. We'll have to wait and see. And of course, it's all about timing also. I mean, we saw a lot of different strategies on Thursday. I mean, and every one of them had their own, advantage.
Well, you got the data now, so you understand that those left side tires, you know what they're doing. Either they're burning off or they're not. It's a yes or no question. So I think you can risk it for the left sides, because I don't think you're going to lose too much. I think the bounty is going to and the 117's now on the inside of the 36 of Adamson, and he is going to make Adamson work for his position now, as Thomas O'Hara is going to be rolling up, and he is going to be trying to get up to the bumper of the 64 Darren Mullins.
Yeah, right in the path here is Jose Acosta, of course, in a position to where he's 4th in the points, needs to get as many positions as he can. Otherwise, he might find himself on the outside looking in here. Of course, Gary Adamson is on the outside looking in, and the points today is just not getting better for that 36.
Well, and you saw what happened to the 36. He kind of got pushed to the outside, and everybody made it around him to the inside. That's what Thomas O'Hara is going to have to do to Darren Mullins. He's going to have to get to the inside of him, just like Kenny Powell did, and, in order to get that position. See how he kind of comes up? He's going to try to get a great drive off to the inside. Now he's going to try to drive down on the inside. That's exactly it. Set him up. And now he's going to force him to the outside. Now Jose needs to get closer so he can try to kind of do the same thing.
Yeah, for sure. And almost was close enough to have some contact there as Thomas O'Hara definitely forced his way kind of in. But I mean, you have to in a point. You have to.
He was. I mean, that's short track racing, baby.
Exactly.
It's Saturday
There's
night.
going to be some door banging. That's going to happen.
It's Saturday night. I mean, don't come out here if you ain't expecting to get touched.
100%.
Can't get up in your feelings when you're in Martinsville. This
Look
is
at
the
this.
short track.
Kenny Powell making the pass on Chris Johnson. Now works his way up into 5th position. Powell definitely doing exactly what he needs to do. He might have had a little bit of a misstep there earlier, but he's back on the money right now.
And not sure what's going on with Johnson. Not sure what his tire scramble has been, but he is definitely running a lot slower than the guys that are around him on the racetrack. So, where that comes from, I don't know. But, hey, look, he has nothing to worry about. So all he's doing is just out there really chilling.
Yeah, for sure. And also he could explain it, too. He spent 9.2 seconds in the box on that last pit stop. So both pit stops that he has taken here tonight have been 2-tire stops.
Yeah, so he's obviously got something figured out, and I think that was just probably a situation where he's just letting the little buddy go ahead and maybe pick up a couple extra points.
Yeah, might as well help your teammate get into the championship 4. I mean, that's not a bad call.
Yeah, especially if Powell's got the pace. Now, Kenny if Kenny's got the pace to go up there and continue to maybe catch, Kendall LeVron and even Ryan Strunk, then go Kenny, go, right?
Well, speaking of Ryan Strunk and Kendall LeVron, battle is on for 3rd place as Kendall has caught up to Strunk, but very impressed with Kendall's speed here thus far in this race. He has been definitely putting on a great show here. Let's see if he can get by this 77. As the 77 definitely has been fast himself in his own right, but just has been slowing down a little bit here in the long run. Also, lap traffic is starting to come into play as Greg Wyszynski just got lapped.
Yeah, and another thing, too, that speaks volumes to Kendall, man. Kendall, way to go. Big Al's giving you a shout-out if you're listening to this thing. I'm talking good about you because you even spun yourself out, was able to actually get that thing back upright and ready to go again. Looks like we got green flag pit stops underway because of 5. Greg Wyszynski finds himself down pit road right now, and I think this might be a scheduled stop, I hope.
Yeah, I definitely hope so because it looks like he's gotten out of the car.
No, man, we need you.
Yeah, definitely. It looks like maybe just not having the night that he maybe envisioned. Unfortunate there, but the battle is still on for 3rd place.
No, he's still rolling.
Oh, he is? Okay.
Yeah, so that opens our window there for green flag pit stop. So obviously, maybe his car wasn't doing what he wanted to do, so he's one of the guys that's going to come down a little bit earlier. Now, so he is still going to have to run the remainder of this race right here on those tires and that tank of gas. So, woohoo! We made it to green flag pit stops.
Yeah, of course, the window is wide open. We mentioned it before, 115 laps is the fuel window, and I do believe we're verging on 105 here to go. And this thing's been flying by. I mean, a lot like what we saw on Thursday. We saw maybe a couple extra cautions, but still, I mean, it's been a fairly clean race compared to some other ones. These guys at ISCA definitely have a lot of respect for each other. And, of course, the numbers in here not as high right now either, just considering we're closing in on the end of the Super Cup season. And a lot of guys at the end of the season start to get a little bit disenfranchised when it comes, just like, hey, what's the point? I'm not going for a championship.
Well, no, there's a championship within a championship that's going on. And just because, you might be out of the running for one, the other one is still very much alive and running. So that's what we're going to be looking at right now, just besides the fateful 8.
Yeah, of course. Definitely guys trying to point their way, into a good position when it comes to Cup Series. As we're running on board here, we're Abner Acosta, as he is going to be trying to catch back up to Greg Wyszynski and try to put him a lap down again here.
Chris Johnson down pit road right now, so he's going to be running his green flag pit stops. It'll be interesting to see if he is taking lefts, rights, or both.
I would assume both because, he's already taken 2 tires, both of his stops here tonight. I feel like he's going to need to change them lefts at some point.
Why?
I mean, you even said it yourself that he was having problems when Kenny Powell was able to catch him and pass him there. So, I feel like there is a limit to that strategy. You know what I mean?
Okay. Well, it's like he's taking 4 tires. Man, that's a long stop for the 48.
Yeah, especially here at Martinsville. I mean, the laps around this place, 18 seconds, 19 seconds, you know, very quick. Doesn't take a long time to get around, so I would not be surprised to see him fall down to multiple laps down. He's now 3 laps down.
He might just be chilling because it should not take that long. So, you know, another thing that these drivers are going to have to understand, the longer they stay out, I mean, maybe the less time they'll have to spend on pit road.
Man, I'm telling you, we've seen a big resurgence in the pace here for Ryan Strunk. He is running down Chris Severa. Strunk in a position he needs as many points as he can get right now. I think he's doing everything he needs to do.
Oh, which is he drives it in hard. Sorry, Brian. Which means he drives it in hard, prevents a 3 wide there, gets beneath the 8 of Flores and the 11 of Don Avery. Now we got those fresh tire factor going in there. Go ahead, buddy. Sorry.
No, I was just saying that he's in kind of that situation to where he needs to get some good points here. He's not far back behind Kenny Powell and Jose Acosta points-wise. So, I mean, what he's doing right now is everything he needs to do. Is it going to be enough, though, is the real question. Of course, the Greg Wachinski getting by, I do believe, Gary Adamson, but now Abner Acosta he's in danger zone right now. He's got a lot of lap traffic here. He is definitely having a time. Now going to be trying to get around Gary Adamson. Of course, Chris Severa now 5 seconds back from Abner. Abner has created a monstrous lead here tonight.
Yeah, he is slicing through the field like a hot knife through butter. There you go. How about that?
Definitely an excellent performance here from him. Looks like Mark Pageant from Thursday, but even better in a lot of ways, just considering, you know, he's getting ready to probably maybe put half the field a lap down.
Well, he is definitely on a mission right now. With 95 laps to go in this thing and these guys having the better part of 50 laps on their equipment, they're at least another 25 laps out before they're probably even going to consider coming down pit road.
Yeah, because you never know. You could see a late race caution, and if that happens, that could really mess up a person that had just pitted because they could still be laps down because of it.
You know, and I wouldn't argue with you, but we definitely have seen 3 cautions outside of the stage cautions here tonight. And before this race started, neither you or I would have believed that. So for me to think that we've seen the last of the cautions, I don't know. I think it's still a possibility that we could. As he is now pulling up to the back end of Darren Mullins.
Yep, Darren Mullins going to be finding himself going a lap down here shortly.
And Mullins really no stranger to this position because he was in this position a little bit earlier on this evening. He was actually already lapped once and kind of got that back. So here's the resurgency of the 44's reign of terror, I guess you could say. Because Abner's just going through this field here, man. Like he's just not showing any mercy.
No, not at all. He's still running the fastest times on the racetrack at the same time, too. I mean, he is definitely throwing some really great laps down as we now have, I do believe, 90 laps remaining here. Still a long way to go.
And you see the 64 there dropping that intentional elbow there, kind of making himself a little wider. I think that maybe he should. We'll see how that plays out, but I don't know if Abner's going to be as receptive to that elbow block. Okay, there it is. He thinks better of it. Now Abner's going to come down low. He's going to go ahead and make his way around the 64.
It looks like, Ryan Strunk is on pit road right now.
Yeah, he is definitely taking advantage of his green flag pit stop. You know, that's kind of weird because, you know, unless he's got his car set up for the long run, you know, you're going to have to do that on one side or the other. Does that make sense?
He takes 2 tires, I do believe. 8.5 in the box. Might even have just taken fuel only. It takes a while to fuel the car up. We'll see what this does for his, bid here. I mean, I don't blame these guys for throwing the book at it, just trying to figure it out, thinking outside the box, because that's what it's going to take to get into that Final Four. I mean, that's an accomplishment in and of itself, making it into the Final Four. That shows that you belong in here. You're the cream of the crop in ISCA.
Yeah, absolutely. And the ISCA is a league right there where it does lend itself to winners, man. So you can't just be a slouch and get in here, because it's not, you're going to show up. So you got to put the work in. You got to put the time in. You got to develop your craft. I mean, in this racecraft is a thing, man. So the more you practice your instrument, the better and the more proficient you're going to be at it.
Tell you what, Kenny Powell has been consistently chasing down Kendall LeVron. Going to be trying to go after that third-place position. Wonder if this is going to work out for him. We'll have to wait and see. We've definitely seen Kendall and Kenny tussle before. They usually race each other with respect, but you never know what can happen at Martinsville.
Yeah, speaking of never knowing what could happen, I mean, the 44 is slowly creeping up on the 42.
Yeah, I mean, he could find himself a lap down. He's right now 18 seconds behind the leader. Yeah, I do believe Abner going to be catching up to that 42 quite quickly. And it's kind of been a little bit of a sibling rivalry with these two here. I mean, we've seen Abner and Jose, battle each other. They don't make it easy on each other. That's for sure.
No, but I tell you what, the one thing that I do love about this is the introduction of the Panterato Racing team, because now, we've got another team that's thrown into the mix. So that just adds another level of excitement to the ISCA.
That it does. Of course, you see Ryan Strunk right now trying to pass Thomas O'Hara. That is not for position. Ryan Strunk is one lap down right now, but he has already taken his pit stop. He is good to go to the end.
Yeah, Gary Adamson and Frank Flores are they're having a heck of a time here with the 64 of Darren Mullins. Adamson got a little bit loose there, and Flores was going to try to make a move around him, but it didn't pan out, so kind of falling back in line here.
Yeah, it does seem like, these guys have been fairly close back here, and it's been so hard to try to pass Mullins. I mean, he has been definitely holding that position, sitting right now in 7th place. Adamson doing everything he can. He sails it in. He's not able to get a great run off. It seems like, the cars it's so easy to get on that gas a little too hard and it starts to break loose, and it's easy to be overcautious too, because that if I get it on it too hard, I'm going to spin out, I'd say overcautiousness is a thing. I mean, you could definitely drive it not on the edge just because you're scared of what happens if you go over that edge. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. Be 75 laps to go in this thing here at the line. Definitely the third stage has been a lot more race friendly than the first two stages, as so far it's the only stage I believe that has not yielded a caution.
Oh, here we go. Pit stops here. Jose Acosta down pit road.
And I think Jose had to do that. When you see the 44s encroaching upon you, also the 36 of Gary Adamson, he's coming down pit road. But when you see the leader encroaching upon you at that point, that's time for you to go ahead and come on down pit road. This is splitting it almost dead down the middle. We've got 74 laps to go. These guys, the leaders have 74 laps on their equipment. You already know how the car's going to handle. So if you're one of those guys that's struggling, this is your time to come in. If you're not struggling, you roll it out for another 25 laps, put in your first stage setup, and you run that thing on into the sunset. 24 Kenny Powell also coming down pit road.
Yeah, we also saw Chris Johnson take a trip down pit road once again here. Of course, Johnson's actually 32 laps down now.
Yeah, he's not racing.
So we got Kenny Powell pit service in progress right now. Kendall LeBron, I do believe, still out there on the racetrack. Thomas O'Hara also out there still. Of course, our leader, Abner Acosta, and Chris Severa, who's in second place, still out on the racetrack. You see, Chris Severa has started to catch up to more of that lap traffic that Abner was having to deal with a time ago. That just goes to show you how far Abner has got out into the lead. I mean, he's almost 10 seconds out in front of Chris Severa right now. Abner is like on another planet. He is literally a half a lap in front of Chris Severa right now. As we now have 70, I do believe that, no, 69 laps to go. When do these guys come down? I mean, definitely a question.
Yeah, I think you come down in 20 laps. I mean, honestly, 18. I think when you got 50 to go, that's about the time that you're going to come down. If you can hold out, hold out, and that way you're only putting in enough gas just to get you to the end. As Chris Severa now comes around Flores, the 42 of Jose Acosta on fresh tires, he's also going to be trying to come back around the 62 of Severa so he can get his natural lap back.
Oh, wow, look at that. A little bit of definitely some contact there as the 42 was trying to get around the 62. I don't think the 62 knew he was on the fresher tires. Here comes Ryan Strunk also.
And this is what I was talking about earlier, where we're going to have guys that are so many different sequences. Guys that are a lap down, guys that are on fresh tires, guys that are on their original set, because the leaders, the top three cars, all have greater than 80 laps on their equipment right now.
Yeah, so you're going to see for a time here, these guys that are on the newer tires, they're going to start to kind of cut into that a little bit.
Yeah,
but once these guys do pit, they're going to have a more of an advantage.
Yeah, Brian, and everybody's just kind of blended in right now. It's just a big blurred line, right?
Yeah, it's hard to tell who's really on the right strategy, except for, I'd say, Abner Acosta. I'd say I don't think any strategy could be wrong for Abner right now. I mean, he is so far out. Now almost 12 seconds in front of Chris Severa.
And interesting to note, just for a lot of our viewers here that are frequent flyers here to the ISCA, Abner is a big fan of fixed setups. So I want to see if his fetish was kind of like proper this week, or maybe, he had to actually tap into an open setup and define it.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, definitely, I feel like an open setup would be probably better here at Martinsville, just considering what we've seen with the fixed setup in recent races. I don't know. I mean, because it seemed like the fixed setups gets a lot looser off the exit than these open setup cars do. But I mean, of course, tonight the conditions have kind of caused it to be a little bit more looser, though. So maybe that was based on conditions and not the setup.
I don't know, man. Right now, he has found himself being enveloped by the 11 of Don Avery as well as the 36 of Gary Adamson. These guys are all up on him right now.
Yeah, on fresher equipment, Abner has no choice but to just let these guys go.
Severa's down pit road, along with the 28 of Kendall LeBron.
And we have 60 laps to go here. As,
Powell.
said,
go ahead, bud.
Well, like you said, I mean, everybody – now I think green flag pit stops have clearly kicked off, and Abner's probably going to answer.
Yeah, he's down now.
Yeah, speaking of that, he does answer. He sees all these guys going down pit road. He sees also the guys that are on fresh tires starting to, like you said, envelop him. Now the only choice, come down pit road also.
So now we've got Thomas O'Hara, Darren Mullins, and Frank Flores. I do believe the only three drivers that have not come down and committed to pit road yet. Severa making another trip down pit road. Not sure what this is about.
Oh, my word. Could he have gotten a penalty? Could definitely be a black flag causing him to come back down pit road.
Yeah, he's got a black flag.
Oh, my goodness. So that's probably going to be a 40-second hold. He is going to be a non-factor now. This is going to be a big chance for someone to get some points, unless a caution comes out, Big Al. You know what I mean. I'm just saying.
No, I like the word. I'm just like a non-factor, though. That's just so. You're saying that Chris Severa is a non-factor.
He's not going to be a factor unless a caution comes out, because he is going to lose multiple laps here.
I just wanted our listeners and viewers just to let that sink in for a little bit. Chris Severa is now a non-factor, and he is still in the championship points. Not locked in, though, right, Brian?
He sits second in the points right now, but he does have, I do believe, 70 points over, I do believe, Jose Acosta or Kenny Powell. I can't remember which one. But I know that he is, I'd say, locked in on points. I'd say he's good to go. This is not going to really have that much of an impact. We'll have to wait and see. I mean, it's going to be a little interesting here as we see Abner Acosta trying to fight to get around John Mullins here. Thomas O'Hara is the leader right now.
Yeah, O'Hara is the only one left. Well, Frank Flores is yet to pit yet. Flores having 94 laps on his equipment. Thomas O'Hara out front with 90 laps on his equipment. And Darren Mullins also yet to pit.
I'm liking what I'm seeing from Ryan Strunk right now. He's got some good pace on that race car, 19.6 last time by, and he is running down Thomas O'Hara. He's getting ready to have the lead here, and it's going to be a little interesting to see what Abner can do with this. If Ryan Strunk is too much of a pain in his side, I mean, Strunk, if he wins this race, this changes a lot. Strunk is on the outside of the Final Four right now, but if he wins, he's in.
Still got a lot of racing left to go here.
Definitely do, as I do believe they just crossed the line. Next time by will be 50 laps remaining. Definitely has been a great race here. Definitely appreciate all of our partners.
All of our sponsors, especially.
Yeah, definitely.
Don having a hard time getting that 11 kind of stopped. He had made a little bit of incidental contact with Gary Adamson a little bit ago, and now he's trying to get around Darren Mullins. But he's got that thing rolling. I was just making a comment that he had kind of made contact with Frank Flores a little bit earlier on that.
Yeah, it looks like they put the adjustments in to kind of make that car a lot better than it was. Of course, Don Avery, just a shadow of what we've seen in the last few weeks. I mean, at Homestead and in Vegas, I mean, Don Avery looked really good out there on those racetracks. And even weeks prior to that, I mean, he's been looking really good. So just a little bit of uncharacteristics here. Maybe just not as good at Martinsville. I mean, sometimes Martinsville's a track that is not everybody's cup of tea.
Yeah, Chris Severa coming inside. He is slicing and dicing coming up onto the back of Frank Flores. Flores is having almost about 100 laps on his equipment right now. Severa makes waste no time actually going around him on the outside.
Yeah, that's definitely impressive to see him able to get around on the high side here. Chris probably hoping for some type of caution or something to come out to get him one of those laps back.
Those guys, though, that are underneath him right there, the 36, the 42, they're not going to be able to make those moves as precise as Chris is because they got a little bit more time on their equipment. But, Flores is 101 laps right now. Those guys are really holding out.
Yeah, I mean, the 42 probably a little bit desperate here to try to get around this 8, but the 8's just holding the bottom. He is not moving up off that bottom line. If you want to pass him, you got to go up to the top. Jose Acosta going to do exactly that.
Triple F, Frank Flores.
Yeah, Frank is a fixture up on the bottom right now.
Frank the Fixture. I bet he's never been called that before. Having a blue light special right now for the 8 car, Frank Flores. A blue light special. He'll know what that's about. That's a Big Al giving you a shout out. And
it looks like Ryan Strunk just got around Thomas O'Hara to take the lead. Thomas O'Hara, of course, has yet to pit. He is right now, I do believe, on 100 laps on that equipment. As we have, I do believe, going to be 42 laps to go this next time by. Can Strunk hold on? I mean, Strunk has, I do believe, about 2 seconds back to Abner Acosta. Acosta is closing in, hitting some of his fastest laps of the race here.
Come on, man. Really? I don't know what that is. That's a witch hunt right there.
He's a rocket ship right now. That Abner is moving. He is moving.
He's going to try to get him in. Man, Frank got real loose right there. Able to pedal through it, though.
There goes Abner. Able to slide right around the 111. And now, I do believe, still 2 seconds separate him. But now he's gotten by the 111. It's going to be a whole lot easier. I'm sorry, 117. But also, Ryan's starting to have to deal with lap traffic. See, he comes up right behind Frank Flores, who we were just mentioning. Looks like Frank's going to go up to the top side, let him go.
Yeah, Frank's within 10 of pitting.
Yeah, he has to. I mean, he literally has to. Yeah, Frank not doing as much of a courtesy here to Abner, though. Seems like a little bit of help going Ryan Strunk's way, wouldn't you say? I mean, Frank let Ryan go. He let Ryan go. He is not letting Abner go. This could play a huge role in who wins this race here.
I'm not here to speculate. I'm just saying that, it'd be that.
I think some checks cleared for Frank.
It'd be like that sometimes.
Cash App he got some money on Cash App.
Man, we are rolling through this thing. 37 laps to go. In the final stage of competition here. Ryan Strunk's really coming out of left field, taking the majority of the share here in the latter parts of this stage, and he is definitely running now. Unfortunately for him, Abner Acosta is chipping away at that lead little by little, and I think these two will definitely have to battle it out here before this is over, as Acosta is now coming around the outside, and he is up upon the 77 Ryan Strunk.
Yeah, I think Strunk just needs to hold the bottom. Don't even let him. But I think that also Abner's tires are so much better. He might be able to pass him on the top.
Well, I don't think Strunk's just going to let him go. So these two definitely going to battle just a little bit here.
Oh, Strunk goes high. That sends Abner up the racetrack. This is going to be a battle here. Strunk is not going to let him pass him.
Yeah, and Abner's just going to have to sit and feel him out. And then he's just going to have to wait until there's the right opportunity, because if he does risk it a little bit prematurely, it could be the end of his day as well.
Definitely. I mean, but you got to think also that Ryan Strunk has so much more to lose right now. Like if Abner gets caught up, it's like he's not going for the Super Cup championship.
Yep, Abner on the inside, and now he is cleared of Strunk. Now he is back up front now as our leader once again.
Still great point stay for Strunk, though. I mean, this might be just what he needs. If he might be close enough here with this second place.
Yeah, with 32 laps to go in here, 31 at the line for the leader. Looks like Abner is definitely on his way to a hat trick here this evening.
Tell you what, we're seeing a little interesting driving back here. Kenny Powell's been holding up John Mullins, which is surprising because we've seen Mullins been holding up some guys tonight, but here comes Severa, going to be coming up to the back of the 24. Of course, Kenny Powell in fourth place right now. Probably, I don't know. I mean, that's a good point stay for him. It might allow him to leapfrog Jose Acosta.
Yeah, because Chris Severa now being shown 3 laps down in the contest, being scored in 12th place. Not a good day for Chris. If everything keeps rolling the way it is, he might as well just put that thing back on the trailer.
Yeah, the bad part about it is, I mean, he had a good day. Like, it was a good race for Chris. I mean, but that just shows you how much pit road makes a difference.
What's that? That one feller y'all got
I
down
think
there,
you
what's
say
that
something.
thing he says?
They
That
say
one feller
something.
down there, that big gal feller, he always says something about you driving for show, pitting for dough.
Yeah, and I think that was a big example of that was Chris Severa making a huge mistake on pit road. Not even sure what the penalty actually was, but I would assume it's probably a speeding penalty.
Thomas O'Hara now coming down, and he is going to be now completing his final pit stop. Just wonder, it should be not too long before Frank Flores does the same, as Frank now has 120 laps on his equipment.
Yeah, I'm surprised he's made it this far. I mean, to be honest with you, 115 laps is the fuel window. So he must be definitely saving some fuel there.
It's 120 laps. That's what Frank's done.
Yeah, apparently. I mean, he's changed the number, right? That's Triple F for you. He's going to change the number on you. Abner Acosta, though, has utterly dominated this race.
Oh! Flores high. Mullins low. Severa in the middle.
Definitely some things going on back here. Chris Severa trying to capitalize, get as many points as he can here. Of course, only 5 drivers right now remain on the lead lap as Frank Flores down pit road. Of course, a little bit about the gaps here in the field. Abner Acosta right now has 4.5 seconds here on Ryan Strunk. Kenny Powell, of course, 10.5 back from Abner Acosta. So quite some big gaps here. Of course, Kendall LeBron not too far back from, I do believe, Kenny Powell, but I do believe about a couple seconds, probably 3 or 4 seconds here. But a lot of guys having to, deal with guys who are not actually racing. I think that's the biggest thing we're seeing right now. Is like, it's not racing for position. You're just trying to get around a lap car. He's saying he might not be wanting to let you go.
Yeah, because you got so many different scenarios going on the racetrack now. Guys on different tires, guys on different laps, guys a lap down, some guys multiple laps down. I mean, this is just that tricky part of the time of the night with 20 laps to go in this thing, where everybody is just hoping that the caution does not come out.
Yeah, and this is the time where it could. I mean, just considering everybody has been at this for a long time tonight, 250 laps is a tall task to ask of these drivers out here. And, they're going to get to where, you're going to make a mistake to where your focus is not where it was whenever you started this race.
Yeah, but, that's why these guys are paid the big bucks. I mean, they are professionals, right? So that's why, they're supposed to be.
They're going to love you. Did you pay? Are some of these guys paying you?
No, actually.
You got some PayPal coming in?
No, I mean, I'm saying, actually, yeah, they are kind of paying our salary if you think about it.
Yeah, that's
the 28 gives a big nudge to the 8 of Frank Flores. Flores isn't going to like that regardless of the situation, so we're going to see how that plays out. Now, I don't know if Kendall just kind of got a little bit fast in there and just kind of slid up in it. Yeah, that's what happened. I'm just trying to make it a little bit more than it was.
Putting on the theatrics for him, huh?
Yeah, sometimes you got to do that.
You get that on these big jobs.
Yeah, you definitely going to get that on these big jobs.
What's really interesting, though, I do believe Jose Acosta has just been put a lap down by Abner. And Abner not done yet. I mean, he's got about 15 laps here to go, but he's not far back from Kendall LeBron. I think everybody in this race, except for the top 3, might go a lap down here.
Yeah, he is definitely on pace to do it. Man, that's just got to be disheartening.
Definitely does. I mean, it's got to be disheartening for all the drivers out here. Like, how do you compete with someone like this? And you mentioned the fixed setup stuff. I think that's what makes him so much, or so good at saving equipment, because that's what fixed setup racing is. You have, you could have a great setup in open setups and not be that well versed at actually maintaining that equipment, and it's still, the setup can carry you there. But in the fixed, you have to be on your P's and Q's with the driver inputs. And I think Abner has kind of got taught that.
You know what I just realized?
What's that?
Guys like Abner are the reason why I'm up here in the booth with you.
100%.
It's a lot easier to sit up here and talk about these guys than it would
Oh
be
yeah,
to go
I mean we're rubbing shoulders with them, and we're not as good as them though. We get to ask them questions, Big Al. I love it.
Now I'm just saying though, it definitely shows you though that there is levels to this ish. You know what I mean? Where you guys, it takes time, man, and it's all about your commitment to it. You're not going to just come out here and just be good if you haven't spent time in some way, shape, or form in this.
Oh yeah, I mean this takes a lot of time, practice, seat time. I mean it is an investment of time, and that is the biggest thing. I mean iRacing itself can be somewhat expensive when it comes to all the tracks and content. You know, having to buy a wheel and getting your computer set up and everything like that. That's a lot of cost itself, but it also costs an investment of time, and I think that's the biggest investment that probably does go into it.
Absolutely. And to all of the people that are watching this, they can truly understand the testament that you're giving because they've seen their drivers spend an inordinate amount of time on this sim, on this sport, doing what we're doing right now as we are now officially 9 laps to go in this thing before it is in the books. Abner Acosta doing everything. He's doing it too.
Yeah, he definitely is putting it on right now, and a lot of people don't understand that. You know, behind the scenes, it does take a lot of time to get get these guys ready and get the setups ready, and it's not just the race. I mean, you see, this is only a moment that you get to see of the preparation.
Jose gives the horns to the 8 of Frank Flores. Those two got into it. I think that's the second time so far tonight.
A lot of guys not liking Frank tonight, it seems like. I can almost imagine what Frank's saying right now. As we're verging here on 6 to go. Won't be long now until we have crowned a winner here and also have hopefully figured out who's going to be moving on to the Final 4. Kenny Powell hanging out third. Definitely a great day for him. Ryan Strunk right now second place. Abner Acosta, though, not going to allow anyone to win their way in as we're now going to be 4 laps to go. He's getting through a lot of traffic, though. And he's still running down Kendall LeVron. LeVron going to be hoping and praying he can stay on the lead lap here.
It's going to be close.
Kendall gets by the 5 of Greg Wychinski, put a little bit of buffer in between him and the 44. Well, not going to be much of a buffer because Greg's just like, go on ahead, bud.
That's crazy.
Yeah, definitely is crazy. I mean, we didn't even see this kind of level of performance, I do believe, even from Mark Pageant on Thursday. I mean, that's what I love about this Saturday series. Sometimes they surprise you. I think that Abner, Chris Severa, those guys would come into Thursday, and they would humble some of those guys, I think.
Yeah, 2 to go. And Abner, man, is, well, I don't know. He's putting on a clinic, to say the least.
2 laps to go, and he is now on to the back bumper of the 28 of Kendall LeVron. Let's see what he does with it. Does he let Kendall stay on the lead lap? Because he has enough of a lead on Ryan Strunk that he doesn't have to put Kendall's lap down. But I mean, maybe he wants to.
You know what? I think if he does, then we'll talk to everybody that was on the lead lap. That's what we'll just call it instead of a post-race interview.
Well, looks like he's going to let him have it. He lets Kendall stay on the lead lap.
We'll call it the lead lap interview.
All right, well, that concludes the race. Abner Acosta, your winner here for the Goodies 250. Second place, Ryan Strunk. Third place, Kenny Powell. Fourth place, Kendall LeVron. Fifth place, Jose Acosta. Sixth place, Don Avery. Seventh place, Thomas O'Hara. Eighth place, Gary Adamson. Ninth place, Darren Mullins, or John Mullins. 10th place, Chris Severa.
11th place, Greg Wychinski. 12th, Frank Flores. 13th, Chris D. Johnson. 14th, Paul Osen. And 15th, a starting spark for Josh Schaffner. That's going to put this one in the books as the celebrations commence and continue, we're going to go ahead and take a brief step away so we can shake hands with our sponsors. We'll be right back with our post-race coverage.
Ow. Ew. Ow. Ew.
Want relief from tough pain without the tough taste? Try Goody's Cool Orange. Goody's fast, Goody's delicious. Because pain relief shouldn't be a pain to take. Goody's flavors, taking the pain out of pain relief.
At Farmers, we know a thing or two because we've seen a thing or two, like how nice it is to switch and save on your auto policy. But it's even nicer knowing that if this happens, or this happens, or this, or even this, we've seen and covered it. So call 1-800-FARMERS to switch your auto policy and you could save an average of $470. Get a quote today.
We are farmers. Bum, 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 bum.
And we are back, ladies and gentlemen, as we get our post-race show started and underway. We're going to be joined in the booth by Mr. Kenny Powell, our third-place finisher. How you doing tonight, Kenny?
All righty.
A lot better than when we probably talked to you earlier, wouldn't you say? I mean, you got your way up to third. You made it through those green flag pit stops. Of course, it was a long way up there to get to Ryan Strunk. Definitely going to be tight in the point situation. I can't wait to hear what the actual results are going to be for the Final Four. But, how do you feel about your race? Any regrets?
I mean, definitely I wish Jose and I hadn't got together. So if it was my fault, I apologize to Jose. Definitely didn't want it to go down like that. But otherwise, I feel like I did what I came in to do, ran, pretty solid in the top 5 for the stages and, here on the podium for the end. And I knew if I had that kind of race that, I'd make it into the Final Four. So definitely didn't put the pressure on myself that I had to win to be in kind of thing. I just knew I needed to race the race that I knew I could run. And as long as I did that, then, I'd make the game next week. So I did, and here we are.
All right. So does that mean the results are in? You are in the Final Four?
So I still have to do the math for the for Jose and Ryan, but for my own math, I was able to keep that in my head while I'm in the race. So I'm in. Severa's in, and of course Chris won already. Johnson, so he's in. So hopefully I'll have the results tabulated before you wrap things up.
We're definitely looking forward to hearing that for sure. But great race to you, able to come home in third and kind of recover probably the mental strain tonight. How big was that? Do you feel like it was a key part of it too? I mean, having to hit your marks every time and remain focused, even though you might be a little bit more upset or, mentally fatigued.
The hardest part about tonight was me settling in from getting going. So I'm sure y'all noticed we took off a little earlier than expected. Had some administration type issues and didn't delay the start like I normally do. So the start was it definitely got my blood pressure up, my heart pumping. So I had to calm down from that. But then once we got in the race, and then on the start, not to bash out Dawn, but man, that the start didn't make it any better on my heart. But yeah, after that we got rolling good, and I was settled in to do what I needed to do.
Yeah, that was such a wild incident too. Seeing that happen to Don Avery, we kind of looked through his cockpit camera and saw he was pretty much keeping the wheel in the right position, but something to do with maybe cold tires. That was very odd. We saw nothing like that on Thursday.
Yeah, I'm just glad I got through that one without incident.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, you definitely had some incidents. Probably your car got a little bit of some scuffs on it, but still going to be definitely good to go. That's for sure. Not going to be a whole lot of things that the crew's going to have to fix on that thing, man. But going into Phoenix next week, I know you said you're in the Final Four. I mean, what's the game plan? I mean, when does the preparation start?
In about 30 minutes. Not celebrating this one with some practice, probably, if we can put it that way.
All right, love to hear it. Definitely got to be determined to try to make it stick, to get the championship here. Definitely, especially in the Super Cup Series. I mean, it's a long time coming to get to this conclusion. Well, man, great job on your third place finish. Who can we give a shout out to?
Of course, Goodies and Farmers for sponsoring the series. You guys in the booth, and I said it before, the whole Gas and Go racing team. And like I did on Thursday night, I'll thank all the drivers too. I think we got a great group of guys, racing here. I mean, we had a couple more cautions here tonight than we had in Thursday night, but still, ISCA racing versus A Opens or NIS there's just no comparison. There's great racing in here. So if you're listening, hit me up. We got spots. Come in and enjoy the racing in here.
100% agree with everything you just said about, definitely come on in. I mean, we definitely could use some more guys out there. I mean, of course, we're looking for some clean drivers. Don't get that wrong, because we like to keep it the way it is when it comes to just the respect that these drivers show each other. But we appreciate your time, Kenny, and we'll see you next week at Phoenix. I do believe next up is going to be Ryan Strunk and Big Al.
Well, hold on a second before I get in there, Mr. Strunk. Kenny Powell, this Big Al.
Yeah, Big Al. What you got?
When you think, you guys up in the booth, like who are you referring to exactly?
You know what? After I did that Thursday, I thought about that. I should stop thinking the guys in the booth, and I need to think Brian Britt in the booth and alongside Big Al.
That's my guy. Thank you, sir, and congratulations.
See, that's why I'm right. That's right. I'm first. That's right. You heard that, Big Al.
Hey, Ryan Strunk, this is Big Al up in the booth. How are you doing tonight, sir?
Not too bad, Big Al. Could have done better if we finished one spot, Could have been in the playoffs. I think we're pretty sure we missed it.
Well, I don't know. We're going to have to tally up those results because there is one slot left, and I think it's going to be between you and Jose Acosta, man. But you came out here tonight, and you did what you had to do. I mean, think about it like this. The guy that won this thing pretty much lapped the entire field except for the podium. So finishing second place is no small order at all, man. How much time did you actually spend getting ready for this show tonight?
Yeah, it was all hands on deck with the whole team. We have a couple drivers on our team, and they were all testing setups. So we came out here, and after that happy hour, we made some adjustments, and then throughout the race, we were just constantly adjusting because we run the A Open to practice. So like the A Open's been around 87 degrees track temp, and we're about 10 degrees. At least 10 degrees cooler here, so we had to make some adjustments to account for that. But man, Abner was just on a rail. I tried to run him up the track, but there was just no stopping him.
So, answer me this: you said that you run the A Opens as a practice now. What about that 25% fuel differential? Have you guys found that to be any factor at all, or is it just something that you just kind of like roll with the punches on?
Well, I'll tell you what, I have some of the best guys on the box, Greg Newsom and Nate Strunk, my dad. They do all of the calculations for me, and most of the time they're pretty solid. I'm extremely happy with them. This is really our first season working all together, and like I would have liked to get a win, but I would say for our first season in the ISCA, I'm pretty happy with this. Competition in this league is just so high, so just be able to come out here and compete is rewarding enough, you know.
Yeah, I mean, in the figure that you're just in the final 8 here, at least you might have a possibility to get into the final 4. So that's no slouch at all on the season as well. But regardless of that, racing still continues next week as we head on out to beautiful Phoenix, Arizona. What do you got in mind there for that track?
No better place to pick up your first win, right?
Hey, exactly.
Be able to actually drive into victory lane there. Hell yeah, guys.
Yeah, I think that's it. Can we get a prophecy from you? You want to go ahead and throw it out there? Maybe make a prediction as far as where you're going to be next week?
I'm just going to Joe Namath this thing. Yeah, I think we're going to have a good run. We had a solid car in the spring, so as long as I cannot run out of talent, I think that we can have a chance of getting her done. But let me tell you, there's some quick guys with Chris Sivera and Abner Acosta, Kenny Powell. Man, these guys are they're no joke. Don Avery, they're all just so quick.
Yeah, definitely. It is top-notch group of individuals out here with the ISCA, man. But Ryan Strunk is right up there amongst the names that you just mentioned. You got it done tonight, sir, bringing it home in P2. We got our fingers crossed for you that you might get a peek into the Final Four. But before we let you go, man, who you shouting out tonight?
I got to shout out my my crew, Greg Newsom, Nate Strunk Jr., and my sponsors. I got 3 of them this year: Manifesto Marketing Group, Grindstone Stump Grinding, and Kathy Maloney at a Guaranteed Rate. They just really allowed us to have the resources to come out here and compete and do these cool events that you guys put on. And got to thank you guys, the whole ISCA group, man. This league is just so fun. Can't wait to cap the season off at Phoenix. Gonna be an awesome race, awesome broadcast. Hell yeah.
Yeah, awesome, right. Awesome is right, and thank you for giving us something to talk about, bud. Like I said, don't take it too hard on yourself. P2, man, go celebrate that podium, and hopefully we'll get to see you again next week, sir.
Absolutely, Big Al. Have a good one, dude.
You too.
Dang, I'm a little upset. He didn't say Brian or nothing. He was like, it's just Big Al. That's the favorite up here. I'm upset.
You too, Brian. You too, Brian. You're awesome. Hell yeah.
Thanks, Ryan. I'm just messing around, but great job. Next up, we got our winner, Abner Acosta. Absolutely dominated this race, put everybody up to, I believe, 5th place, lap down. Almost was able to even put Kendall Levrone a lap down. What a fantastic show you put on here tonight. I mean, no one could even touch you, Abner. Tell us what kind of preparation did you put into that?
Yeah, so I, as far as fix, I think I've practiced like 3 hours fix, but in regards to the open set, I just practiced right before the race at 30 minutes. But it wasn't that big of a change, just staying third with the set that we were running. So I'm very comfortable in this track, and I'm pretty good at it. So it was just staying out of trouble. I know I got caught in some of the restarts. Starting second here on the restart sucks. It's hard to see the car on the left, and you just get run over. So I know I got messed up twice, and I got back to 4th. So just I think that was the most challenging part, just trying to get through and not kill anybody. But yeah, just was able to get it done at the end.
Yeah, that you were. I mean, we were talking the whole race. I feel kind of a little bit dumb, to be honest with you, because we were like, the whole race, like, you got to prepare for this track. You got to run a whole bunch of laps and stuff like that. This man's like, I practiced on the open setup for 30 minutes.
Yeah, but
now,
I mean, that's
Abner.
not, I do have like 3 hours on the fixed set. So like, I'm super comfortable with the track, and it felt similar besides the gearing. And this track is just a lot about, the trail braking and just kind of arcing it the right way. So it's not like I just came in here with no practices. I have a lot of practice in here, but just not in the set. But it wasn't that much different.
Okay, well, definitely glad the set suited you. It definitely looked like it for sure, as you were able to put almost 13 seconds on second place. I mean, and unfortunately, we saw Chris Rivera have his issues. Definitely got to give him a shout out, of course. was the only one that could kind of somewhat keep up with you, but then after a while, he wasn't even keeping up with you. Man,
Yeah,
I mean, you just had phenomenal speed.
Yeah, he was fast. I mean, when I was started gapping, it wasn't like instantly. It would take like 40, 50 laps, and then maybe I'll start getting away. But he was matching my pace pretty good. Maybe his set was falling off, or maybe the lines that he was taking me was burning his tires more than mine. I guess you'll never know. But he was definitely really, really fast as well. It definitely was taking me a while to start kind of, uh, kind of putting him away. It took me a long time.
Now, how big of a deal was lap traffic? I know that was kind of one thing you had to deal with probably more than anything tonight.
Yeah, I mean, there were a couple scenarios there that it was pretty bad, but uh, it, I've had worse. I've had way worse. So it wasn't too bad. There were just like 2 or 3 instances that I was like, okay, we're gonna die. But it was it was pretty good overall, and then yeah, at the end they're just racing Ryan at the end. He was kind of ran me up high a little bit. I'm still not comfortable as to how much I can pinch with people yet, so I'm trying not to. So that was kind of scary there for a little bit. But I have way better tires than him at that point, since he did a different strategy, so I was able to get by him.
Yeah, get by is definitely what you did, and great job to you, man. I know you're not really fighting for the Super Cup championship, but you definitely are fighting for the regular Cup championship, and you are at the top of the board with now 4 wins in that in that standings there. So, I mean, that is a big deal for sure. Going into Phoenix next week, I mean, what's the mindset going there?
I do like Phoenix. I don't know. So Saturdays are really hard for me to make. This is just kind of been like a unique deal the last couple of months that I've been able to be here. But so I don't know if I'm making it yet, but I do like Phoenix. I do like the track. Any track that you have to use the brake quite a bit, I always like those. So I'm sure I'll do pretty good. I'll definitely need to practice more on the set there. So we'll see what happens. And while I'm not in the playoff, I'm glad that I won, because I think if Ryan would have won, he would have kicked my brother off the playoff. So I was
it's
just
gonna
making
be
sure I
close.
at least
We're not
won.
even sure
Yeah.
how that's gonna all kind of fall.
Yeah, I know
We're
it's
waiting.
Yeah, I know it's very, very close. But I did some quick math, even though I only looked at the chart one time. I think he's good by
Yeah,
like 2 or 3 points. But
results are in. It's
they're in?
Jose makes it by 6.
Oh
Okay.
man, sad
So, yeah, so
night for Ryan Strunk. I do apologize to him. Definitely an awesome effort. If he had won, it would have kicked Jose out. You're right.
yeah. So
Hey, Abner, can I
Yeah.
ask you what this is big guy? Can I ask you one question, bud?
yes.
I know you lapped a lot of people here tonight, but do you get like a different feeling when you lap your brother?
No, to be honest, like in other games, and we're like super competitive, or we used to be, like, when we were a lot younger. But in here, I feel like I have a lot more experience, better gear, and I've been doing it for longer than him. So I'm if anything, I feel like I'm trying to like help him as much as I can, since
What
I have
game's he
more
better than
experience.
you at then?
We used to play a lot of Halo back in the day, back when we were like teenagers, and we used to go at it hard in Halo. Everything, like any game, we're super competitive. And now I feel like maybe it's because we're old now. We've kind of laid off
Chilled
a
out
little bit, but
yeah.
yeah, just chilled out a little bit. But here I just feel like I have way more experience, so I feel like I'm trying to help him as much. Like if I know something about the track, or like a little way of saving tires, I just tell him. If it was somebody else, I don't tell him.
All righty. Well, we definitely loved talking to you, man. We'll got to bring the conclusion to the interview down, though, as who can we shout out after this big win in the Goodies 250? But, man, just
Yeah,
love talking
so
to you. We got to do a podcast.
I'm gonna go the other way to I'm gonna shout out you guys, and I'm gonna do Big Al first, then Brian,
Oh.
just so it's kind of evens out the
Well,
last
appreciate that, boss.
person. You're welcome.
Oh.
Sorry. And yeah, I wanna thank ISI Training and my brother and Pandereta Racing Team and the league.
All righty. Well, appreciate you, Abner, and hopefully we'll see you at Phoenix. I know you said you might not show, but hopefully we'll get to see you. Definitely been on a heck of a run here as of late. I mean, your win percentage is pretty dang high. I'll tell you that right now. I mean, just showing up in the ISCA and putting a lot of these guys on notice. Would not be surprised to see you up there in the points if you stick with us and run the Super Cup season. I mean, I expect that you're going to be one of the ones that these guys are going to have to be watching out for. And I wouldn't mind seeing you racing on Thursday because I think you'd bring it to those guys. And but thanks for your time, Abner. We'll talk to you next time.
All right. See you guys. Have a good night.
That was Abner Acosta, our winner here tonight for the Goodies 250. And do believe that brings us to our conclusion here for tonight's events. Of course, we've got to get Big Al's thoughts here.
I've been telling you that was a class act all the way around. Great racing, great production. Thanks for our sponsors here tonight. Thanks for the ISCA for giving us an opportunity. And thank you, Brian, for being the hostess with the mostest.
All righty, I'm blushing right now, but make sure you tune in next Thursday, 9:15 p.m. Eastern Standard Time is when the broadcast will start. Race will actually start a little bit after 9:30. Of course, that will be the conclusion to the Super Cup Championship there on Thursday. And, of course, Saturday, same time, we will be also concluding this Super Cup season and crowning a champion. So make sure you tune in. It's going to be an exciting race. I have no doubts. I mean, we've seen exciting races even at Martinsville. Definitely has been fun to watch. Well, thanks, everybody, for tuning in. We'll see you next time.